If you want to stay up to date with all current hip-hop events and releases, make sure to subscribe and become part of this community. Oh, and also, go cop that fresh merch and listen to my new songs in the description. DJ Khaled dropped his new album, God Did, about 2 weeks ago. And while I haven't dropped a full-on review of this thing yet, I don't feel like that is necessary because there's a couple of things that I want to talk about when it comes to this album that pertain to more than just, oh, this song was good because of this, because I feel like there's an underlying curse that DJ Khaled is experiencing right now and has been over the past, I think, about 3 records. So ever since like 2019's Father of Assad, then 2021 it was Khaled, and then God Did this year. There's a couple of things that I picked up on that I think should kind of like pertain. You can see them persist throughout everything that he's been doing in these past 5 years. So let's break this down and see what we also know or like can learn from this new album God Did about that. So let's jump straight into this. So this new album is actually not bad at all. There's a lot of tracks on here that I really like. For example, the God Did title track with the really long Jay-Z verse in one take. Also, Lil Wayne went in on there. I mean, just like, you know, God did his thing when he made me. You feel what I'm saying? So stuff like that is just moments on the album that I really appreciate. I also thought the Use This Gospel remix was amazing with Eminem on there. A couple of other tracks like standout features, I believe Keep Going was pretty great. Then also the track Let's Pray with Don Toliver and Travis Scott was dope. I love that Nardo Wake got a placement on here. Also love that Lotto got a placement on here. So a couple of artists just like breaking through that can kind of really benefit from a placement on a DJ Khaled album. Also that we got that Juice WRLD song that has been rumored for a very long time now is great, and I love to hear that, you know, DJ Khaled Juice WRLD leak finally on like an official platform. So the album in itself is really not bad, and listening to this I was like, okay, this is basically everything that I expected of it. You know, DJ Khaled, even though Khaled I feel like was worse than this, I still think Father of Assad was better than this. I just feel like it had more of a, you know, more diversity in there. I felt like, you know, artists hopped on more like really more characteristic and unique beats, like Weather the Storm with Meek Mill and Lil Baby. That is such an amazing track that still went unnoticed. But you know, a lot of these unnoticed songs on here that don't get the full like commercial press coverage, they're really not that great. Like, you know, nobody will go back to the deep cuts in here and be like, oh, these are actually some hidden gems. They all feel like he was trying to make a hit with every single track on here, while on Father of Assad it was more like, okay, at least they got to showcase their individuality as an artist on a lot of these tracks. But on this one, as I said, it kind of feels more commercial. But that is not bad in any way. We knew that this was going to be the route that he was going to take with this one. But I just kind of don't see where DJ Khaled is headed into the future with this, because the past 3 releases have been so just focused on catching a wave of the time, you know, trying to get artists on there that he knows are like all-time winners. He always got the 21 Savages, he always got the Lil Durks, you know, those people on here, the Futures, the Travis Scotts, they always work. You know, you can throw them on a DJ Khaled record and it will work somehow. The Drakes also work, of course, big one, of course. Then he's also like searching for these smaller artists that are still coming up, like those up-and-coming artists that are popping in the industry right now. People listen to them in the culture, and he's starting to put them on here on these songs, which is a great thing. A DJ Khaled placement, as I said earlier, especially for someone like Nardo Wake or Lotto, can, you know, really do great things for them and can get them discovered by a lot more people. That is not what I'm trying to say, that this is a bad thing, but it's just like he always goes with the same formula. Father of Assad, Khaled, and God Did all followed the same formula. You know, uncharacteristic beats that don't have their own personality. Who still listens to like tracks from Khaled? The only track from that album that I still remember is Every Chance I Get, which was probably the best song on there with Baby and Durkio, but it was mixed terribly. It is muddy as hell. And all the other tracks on there just kind of went unnoticed, even great songs objectively. And it's kind of like they all just drown in this flood of features on there. I know that's always how DJ Khaled records have been, but every track was still trying to be its own little story. With now these ones, each track just loses its individuality because he's trying to chase a hit with every single one. And, you know, I just don't see how people are going to get hyped up for another album after this now. I still didn't get how people were hyped up for this one. I mean, I talked about, like, this one being the one that Khaled can prove himself again after Khaled. And he did in a way, but not in like a big way that I'm like, okay, he really showed them, like he was really like coming back with something. It was more of like a, it's okay, we still get quality music from you, but you're not going to create something like legendary within the near future. Maybe for the next album he should take a little bit longer, because these albums have been coming out at very rapid speeds, not a lot of gaps in between them. When I think back to like the earlier DJ Khaled records, like beginning of the 2010s, with great tracks like the I'm On One with Drake, those were like legendary moments that still took a couple of years to even make. And I just feel like nowadays he's making it too easy for himself. The instrumentals are coming from well trusted producers. He's not taking any risks anymore. There's not like new up and coming artists that he's really putting on. He's just trying to capitalize off of their own success already. And that's kind of like what I see like as the curse of the DJ Khaled records over the past like 5 years, I believe. Of course, Major Key, for example, was still great. But I feel like after that, it just kind of started falling off a little bit. And to the point where I'm not even excited about a new DJ Khaled record anymore. Like the next one that he's going to announce, I'll be listening to it. I'll still be listening to it for sure, but it's not like I'm hyping it up like I still was this one. And I feel sorry for like the gems that get lost with this, because especially on here, there's still some genuine effort to create like big, like legendary tracks. I'm talking about God Did specifically, because God Did was likely the standout moment and the one that this album is going to be remembered for the most, just because it was a Hove comeback. It was a Hove, like 3-4 minute verse of him just going off, like, and doing it in one take. We got the proof of that. So that's like the unique selling point of this record was the Hove feature on God Did. But the rest of it is just really nameless, really not a lot of personality going on with the tracks in there. And that's why I feel like that's the curse of DJ Khaled over the past like 3 records that we got. I know that this is like a lot and I've kind of just been ranting a little bit, but it's just some feelings I had with this album listening to it that, accounted for me feeling like this the curse of DJ Khaled. I feel like if he comes back with the album where not every song is trying to be a hit, not every song is just trying to be a generic song, a version of a generic song of the artists that are featured on there, and he's actually putting artists on more daring beats and pushing them out of their comfort zones, then it could actually be something that I think maybe he could create some great again. But yeah, that's my thoughts on this. Now I want to know what you think about this. Are you hyped for the next DJ Khaled record? What do you think of this one, of the God Did one? Do you agree with me that this is like a curse? Do you agree with me that he should be putting artists more out there, not just making generic songs of the artists' basic songs that are featured on there? All of your thoughts on this, please let me know in the comments down below. If you watched this video to the end and liked it, and you want to stay up to date with all current hip-hop events and releases, make sure to subscribe, turn on notifications, hit that like button, and go follow my social media, and most importantly, join my Discord in the description. Until the next one, you'll have an incredible day, and you'll take care.